From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoudinger.
How y'all are? Good evening. Cajun Rob here. I got my good friend, Mr. Al. Hey, Al, how you doing?
How's everybody doing?
Yep. And he is, of course, the CEO of the TAAO, the American Anglers Outdoors channel. There you go.
John. I got to wear this, John.
There you go. And hey, we're pleased and honored to have Miss LaTanya Blanding. Hey, Miss LaTanya, how you doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing great. How are you?
All right. Hey, I think you still celebrating the Philly win, ain't you? Are you still celebrating?
I am. Like I think I stopped wearing my Eagles gear about a week ago. But I think it's time to bring it back. I think some people have forgotten, and I need to bring it back.
Well, you got St. Patrick's Day this week, which is green, so there you go.
Yeah,
it's perfect time.
That's right.
Perfect time.
That's right. It was St. Patrick's last night.
Yep. I'm part Irish, so I'm obligated to bring that up.
Oh, so, see that? Yeah. Which led into the Eagles.
That's right. Well, Miss LaTanya, for just a few folks that don't know you, just kind of introduce yourself and explain kind of your background and just a little bit about you if you want to.
I got you. My name is LaTanya Blandon. I'm on social media across Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I'm also on YouTube. You can search me under LAT Fish and Fit. That is my profile name for all of those platforms. I've been competitively fishing since, I think I'm on my third year now. So 2022 was the first year that I joined the BFLs as a co-angler. Been fishing with my boyfriend for quite a while prior to that, but I've always enjoyed fishing, love the outdoors. Fishing is something that I grew up doing with my grandparents and with my dad and with my cousins. So let me go to the other stuff. I am an engineer. I am a bachelor's of engineering from the University of South Carolina. I am also a fitness instructor, so I teach fitness at our local gym here in Manning, South Carolina. And I am on the Habitat Board for Humanities. I'm currently serving as the board president, which will be coming to an end the end of June. So my 2-year term, my 2 terms are over. I've served 6 years total on the Sumter Habitat for Humanity board, and time to pass the torch on to somebody else.
There you go. But you set the bar high though, so.
I hope so. It's a great organization, and I'm actually glad to be a part of it. We've done a lot of good things in the 2 terms that I've been able to serve, and I'm pretty sure that they will continue to do more.
Oh, absolutely. And we appreciate your efforts and everything you've done. You've definitely left them in good shape. So just going to take it higher and higher.
Thank you.
All right. Got a couple of quick comments going to run through here. Must be one of your friends, Real Talk Bassin said, "What's up, fellas?"
What's up?
And then my buddy down from South Louisiana down the bayou, Mr. Barkin Ruger, says, "Fired up, guys. How's it going, Rugers? Hope you're doing well." And then Real Talk says, "What's up, LT?"
What's going on, Real Talk? How you doing? How you feeling? Look, I'm feeling good. I mean, I smell good. I know y'all can't smell me, but I smell good.
Hey, I need your secret on the energy. How you do all these things every day? What do you sleep? Do you sleep any? I'm just curious.
I do in between social media posting. No, but yeah, I get a late start on getting into bed a lot of times, and I don't really get a solid sleep. I know that I don't, because my mind feel like it's always going, even when I'm laying down. So I'm actually trying to find some good medication or something that's gonna help me.
Hey, when you find it, share it with us. Share it with us.
Yeah, but no, it is a lot. When I start to write down, when people ask me for a bio and I start to write down everything that I do, I wonder how I have the time. But God has been making a way, and here I am. I haven't gotten tired yet, so we'll see how long we can ride it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And this must be some of your kin, as my boy said. Frederick Blanding says, "I was wondering the same. No sleep, laughing."
I get it from him. I mean, I know he can't talk for real.
Uh-oh.
But
And
that's my brother.
okay. How's it going, Frederick? Glad you tuned in, man. Appreciate you. And Ivy BI Fishing More says, "How's that hook set doing, LT?"
Look, I'm still working on it, but I think I got it. I think I got it down pat. The key to it is, when you hook them, you got to hold it for a second and make it look like you're really doing something, and then
Yep.
start reeling.
There you go. There you go.
Lean back a little bit.
There you go. There you go. Well, talking about fishing on the back deck. When's have you had your first tournament yet, or you're coming up to have your first tournament?
So let's talk about that. Okay, let's talk about that. I've had 3 tournaments so far. 3.
Oh wow!
Ask me how many fish I caught.
How many fish you caught?
0.
It happens. Hey, I've had it happen. I've had it happen. It happens to everybody.
and
I think we all have.
Because the last time I talked to you guys, I was all hyped and I was amped about the upcoming tournaments, and I was certain that I was going to have a good story to tell you about all the fish that I caught in these tournaments that I was in. And no, that is not the case. But I will talk about the experience so far. So we fished. I'm still on the BFL South Carolina circuit. We fished Lake Murray in January. We fished Hartwell. I think it was February the 1st that we fished on Lake Hartwell. And then we just had the tournament on Santee Cooper, which is my home lake. I would say that the first tournament, it was cold. It was raining. I swear it started off cold and then it got warm. I really believe that we had all 4 seasons in one day. It started off cold. It was raining, and then we moved to another spot, and it seemed like we had a little baby hurricane for a second because the winds was blowing probably about 30, 40 miles per hour. And then out of nowhere, the sun comes out. I did catch a pair of draws, though, pair of underwear, some green underwear at that.
That wasn't lucky. That wasn't lucky.
Those might have been Jeremy's.
That might have been. Might have been.
Yeah, so that was Murray. And moving on to Hartwell. So Lake Hartwell, one of my favorite places. It's still my favorite place, even though I didn't catch anything. But the Friday, I did get some practice in. Now for Murray, I didn't get to pre-fish at all, and I was a little nervous about that. And I was thinking that, okay, you know what? Maybe that's why I didn't catch any fish. I didn't get to pre-fish. My comfort level wasn't really where I wanted it to be. And I said, you know what? I'm going to make sure that I pre-fish for Hartwell. Well, I got in 2 days of pre-fishing for Hartwell. When we came off the water that Friday, I started feeling bad. Like my nose just started running. I started feeling congested. And I said, okay, let me get ahead of this. I'm going to take some medicine. I took a Benadryl, and I think I took an Alka-Seltzer Plus. Woke up the next morning. I'm feeling good. I think this is going to be a good day. And about 2 hours into the tournament, all of it came back. My severe major head congestion. I wanted to get some slime on that guy's boat, but all I got was snot on his boat.
Man.
My nose ran all day. I was miserable. It got to the point where I just sat down and I told him, I said, look, I said, don't worry about me. I said, I promise you, if you catch one, I'm still net ready. I'm just not feeling good right now.
Yeah.
Tournament was over. I didn't hang around. I was never ready to get off. I've never been ready to get off the water. That day, I was so ready to go. I was so ready to go. I called my mom. I called Freddie, and I was like, hey, I'm going to try to make it home, but if I don't, I'm just going to get a hotel wherever I am, and I'm going to try to sleep this off. I ended up making it home, and the next day found out that I had the flu. So that's how that went. I'm not going to say that's the reason why I didn't catch anything.
But it didn't help. It didn't help.
No, it did not help that I wasn't feeling well at all. So I really want to go back and redo that one. Even if it's just a fun trip. I really like Hartwell, and I'm not going to let that bad experience discourage me and take that off my favorites. and then let's go to Santee. So looking forward to Santee. And I got paired with a guy that really knows the lake. I'm talking about every tournament that he enters, he's catching fish. He always does well. If he doesn't finish in the top 10, he's somewhere in the top 20, 25 or so. So I was really excited about fishing with him. And it was a good day. There was good energy from my boater. There was good energy with us from the very beginning. But that morning started out in the 20s. It was 20 degrees. It was like 26 degrees, I think. He was in a Skeeter. This is my first time in a Skeeter. Never been in one before. So when you're leaving, if you're familiar with Santee, when you're leaving John C. Landon, you get out of get out of Talcott, and now you enter in the big water. Well, when he made that left, when he made that right to cut into the big water, I don't know what he did, but it was like he had some nitrous or something on that boat. I'm talking about, we were going so fast. I couldn't open my eyes. I just said a prayer and I was like, you know what? Okay. So we got to this point where we were getting ready to go under the bridge. And so we're in the no wake zone. And he looked over at me and he said, are you all right? I got snot running out of my nose. And I just looked at him and said, yeah, I'm fine. He started laughing at me, but that's how our day started. Yep. I got some bites that day. I think he ended up catching 3. I don't think he finished his limit, or maybe he did. I think he did. I got several bites that day, but I just could not secure anything to get him into the boat. So that's where we are right now. My next tournament isn't until June, I think, and that's on Clarks Hill, which is another one of my favorite places to fish. So I'm looking forward to that. But in between time, I'm going to jump into some local tournaments as a boater, because I think this is what this experience is really telling me, that you need to go ahead and transition to that boater side.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Clarks Hill Lake, man.
Ooh.
I love Clarks Hill.
Gorgeous down there.
My favorite place.
It is.
My favorites.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, they just had a tournament down there, Big Bass, and I think, was it 9? I think somebody called a 9 for the Big Bass of the tournament, and everybody said the fish was all shallow and on the bed, so they caught a bunch of them down there.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It's a beautiful place. It's one of my top 5.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I can see why. My first time fishing there was last year in the BFL, and I fell in love with it. The very first day, I was like, this. If I could just pack up and just move and live, I think I would. It's one of my favorite places. I really like it there.
Yeah, it's a special
place. I did for a while. I kind of did live near there for a while. It was called Fort Gordon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a buddy who lives down there close to Fort Gordon. Yeah.
So you're a military guy?
Yeah, he is, and his wife still works on the base. I think she works night shift, but she's about to retire. But great guy.
Okay, good deal. Thank you for your service.
All right. I'm going to run through this. We got a few more comments from Al's buddy, Mr. Jeremy May. He says, I have 5 kids that work like medicine. Yeah, you do, Jeremy. I give you credit, man, on how you do it. And Jeremy says, "How about you, Miss LaTanya?" Says she's beautiful and an amazing person. So,
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. And then Miss Jen Nolan, good friend of ours, says, "Hey y'all, hey Miss Jen, hope you're doing well." And then Real Talk Basson says, "All is well. Just getting back home from a tournament on Pickwick. Pickwick's never Great Lake, definitely a great lake."
Yeah.
And then Jeremy says, "Yep, she's a straight shooter." Absolutely, I agree with that statement. And Jeremy says, I agree with Jeremy on this. I'm the same way. I zero all the time. Don't feel bad. So it happens.
I wish the days we pre-fish could count.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'd win practice all the time.
Listen, for me, I knew it was. I'm not gonna say I knew it was gonna be bad, because when people pre-fish and they don't catch, normally you have a decent tournament. When you bust them up pre-fishing and then you go into the tournament all hyped and thinking that you're going to catch them, you don't. So even in pre-fishing, I'm talking about, we didn't get a bite. neither the guy I was fishing with, neither one of us got a bite that day. And I was like, okay, we either gonna really, really suck tomorrow or we're gonna finish at the top of the pile. And the flu got me. So that's what I'm gonna blame it on. I had the flu.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. And then see the Roblox Kings and Queens says, "Hi, workout instructor and church friend," and she says, "This is She says, "This is Lisa."
Hey, Lily.
So, and then Jeremy has a good point here. He says, "Can you bake? If so, I will need your skills on Oneida in the fall. Mr. John would appreciate you helping my baking skills. He has been known to burn up a pie or two. Just saying." So, and then Jeremy says, "I got slime and snot all over my boat. My first event up north. I feel your pain, sister." So hip is all. And then what's funny is when you get fast and your eyelids start flapping, and it's like you can't keep them shut. Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Well,
And
as a co-angler, did they at least have the windshield in front of you?
yeah, the console.
The console?
Yep.
And I got people calling me.
Uh-oh.
That was my mother. I tagged her in the post. She knows what I'm doing right now. Frederick,
She forgot.
Frederick, tell mama.
She done forgot.
Tell her I can't talk right now. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I think Al was asking if the boater had a console in front of you.
You have a console in front of you?
No, he didn't.
Oh man.
There was no console. And I appreciate the dual consoles, like I really do as a co-angler.
I know.
I was just exposed to it all. When we took off on Santee, I thought my hat was secure on my head, but it wasn't. It flew back, and so I'm out there with just a baseball cap, my Cass King balaclava on, and my hands, my gloves, and I'm like, okay, what do? I'm trying to hold the hood over my head, so I'm like this, and it's just flapping in the wind. And I'm like, how fast is this dude really going? And I wanted to ask him. I was like, no, I'm not going to ask him. But I know for sure that, yeah, we were speed limit on I-95 fast.
Oh yeah. What I do early the season, like when I don't have a console, I have an old motorcycle helmet, full face, and I'll wear that.
Yeah.
Because I've been in one of those.
Doing that. I thought about doing that, but I thought that I would have been okay because I had on multiple layers. I had on a hoodie with a Sherpa lining on it. I had on another jacket, like a little shell that was waterproof that I could cinch down around my neck and my face. And then I had another one on top of that. Well, none of it was secure. I don't know what I was thinking, but I definitely set myself up for failure on that one.
Hey, live and learn. Live and learn. It's part.
But trust me, when we went through that no wake zone, I got myself together. I was right after that.
You caught your breath and was like, whoo.
Yeah. And I knew it was funny because he was laughing. Like he was so tickled. He didn't want to just laugh out loud at me, but he was just, I said, oh, and I was saying to myself, yeah, you can go ahead. You can go ahead and laugh.
He laughing with you, not at you. He laughing with
you. Right.
I used to have a bag I kept with me as a co-angler. One of the items in that bag was one of those old safe face masks.
Yep.
So if my boater didn't have a console, the mask came with me.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Yeah, that helmet in the winter and early spring is a lifesaver because I've had hail hit me in the face, rain. I had one of my buddies had a bird hit him in the face. So that thing's that motorcycle helmet is a lifesaver in late spring, early spring, late winter. So for sure.
And I have one. I don't know why I didn't bring it, but lesson learned. Like you said, we definitely learn lessons along the way. Every tournament, there's something new that I take from that.
You always learn.
Oh yeah, every time you're out. Yeah, I think I've fished 70 or 80 tournaments as a co-angler, and I'm still learning stuff. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. Now you said you had 2 more tournaments left.
Yes.
With the BFL. Where are they at?
the one in June on Clarks Hill, and then there's the super tournament that's in September on Lake Murray.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about the South is they fish early. But the
Yep.
bad thing is they get the tournaments out of the way early. So you got
Yeah.
a long wait.
Yeah, so now we got a break. Like we're breaking now from February. I think the last one was February 22nd, and we don't fish again until June. So I mean, and I kind of like it because it does give me the opportunity to do some local stuff in between. So I can still, get out there as a boater and try to hone my skills in on that before I actually make the transition. But I am trying to jump in as much stuff as I can as a boater, just so I can build that confidence up, because I'm almost 100% convinced. I'm like 99.9 that going into 2026, if God spares my life, that I will definitely transition to the boater side.
Absolutely. And hey, Andrew Pulliam's checking in. Say hi, guys, and Latanya. Hi, Al. Hey, Andrew. Hope all's well
Andrew.
down your way, buddy. And Jerry May has a good point. I think Jeremy May has a good point for you. He says, Jeremy says, I would recommend learning the co-angler side as long as possible. Stay on the co-angler side to learn and pay attention to the decision making the pros make. Yeah, it helped us up a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, this is year number 3, and I was really thinking about transitioning this year, but that January 18th tournament on Lake Murray made me change my mind, because I'm like, okay, Lake Murray, January is probably going to be cold.
Yep.
I don't want to be navigating a boat on that one. So I said, you know what? Let me do one more year, try to take in as much as I can, learn as much as I can from my boaters. But like I said, every tournament, like even the Murray tournament, I was paired with a guy that was not from the area. He had only fished Murray, I think, once prior to that. So it was like, that's one of the risk I gather that you take as a co-angler, because you don't know who you're going to be paired with. There's a chance that you're paired with somebody that's just getting into it themselves, that actually had the guts to just jump in it, no matter where their comfort level was, no matter how well they knew the lake, they were just going to get into it. And as a co-angler, you're subjected to that. Like, you just have to make the best of that situation, no matter which way it goes. And it was still good. It was still a good tournament. He was a really, really nice guy. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, you know what? He had the guts, and he had the nerve to jump in it. And all that did was just, encourage me, or give me a little bit more encouragement to just go ahead and do it. Because sometimes you really got to go ahead and do it. You're really not going to really be in a place where I think you're just fully ready and there's nothing else for you to learn. Sometimes you got to take that leap.
Absolutely. And some of the guys I've talked to making that leap from the back of the boat to the front, they said the biggest thing too is practice time. You need a lot more practice time being on the front of the boat, which makes sense.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's why I'm going to be practicing on Santee. I think I'm going to try to jump in a couple on Lake Murray. And hopefully, if my schedule allows me, I'm going to try to take some trips up to Hartwell and maybe go to Clarks Hill at least once this year, outside of the tournament schedule.
There you go. Good plan. I like it. And then your boy Real Talk Bassin has a quick question. From a co-angler's perspective, what is the number one bait you always have tied on fishing from the back of the boat?
So that has changed over the past couple of years. Now for sure, I will make sure that I have a Carolina rig. It seems like that never fails. Although it's crazy that I did not have that tied on when we fished Murray, but I did have it tied on at Hartwell. But I would say that is one that you definitely need to have, and then a drop shot. I don't think that you can go wrong with either one of those.
Amen. I'll give you a hallelujah and amen on that. Yep. Always.
Especially a drop shot. When they get their little position that boat just the way they want it, a drop shot may be the only choice you have.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that drop shot, I've caught them from the back of the boat, shallow and deep. I've done really well shallow, like pitching it up shallow. So yeah, it does very versatile.
Yeah, it is. And I think if nothing else, definitely have that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Definitely a confidence bait. I would say when you're in the tough conditions or tough bite or a lot of fishing pressure or weather's acting weird as always does, and you can catch them doing
Yeah.
that for sure.
Well, listen, I'm telling you, when Hartwell, I threw everything that I had. My whole tackle box might as well have just went into the lake on that one. I tried everything, and nothing I had worked. And we were around the marina, and he was skipping the I think he actually had a drop shot, or no, a wacky rig. He was skipping a
Yeah,
wacky
yeah.
rig between the boats. Yeah, and on that slow fall, they were coming up from up under there, and they were hitting it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's never deadly technique, especially in the spring. Seems like that
Yeah.
always does well.
Oh
And
yeah.
our old buddy Jeremy May says, "All right, guys, I love Latanya being on. She's one of my favorites. I have to go finish dinner. Peace out, ladies and gents." Hey, Jeremy. Hey, cook me something, Jeremy. You got me hungry, man. Cook me something. Oh man. But what has been looking at all of your co-angler tournaments? What has been your favorite? Either a bad day or worst day. What's the most memorable day in the back of the boat?
My most memorable day in the back of the boat, I would say, would be on Hartwell. This was last year, and it was my first time catching my 5 fish limit. Of course, now the limit is 3 for co-anglers.
Yep.
But I was paired with a guy that I actually pre-fished with the season before. So I
Oh,
was
nice.
familiar with them. Yeah, I was really familiar with them. It was a real cool vibe. And shortly after he caught his first, I'm talking about by the time he didn't even have his fish out of the net yet. And I was reeling one in. And he asked me, he was like, "What are you fishing with?" And I showed him I had like I had a number, either a number 7 or a number 5 Berkeley finisher.
Yep.
Yep. Pitching, throwing it up at those points and just reeling it back on a spinning combo.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep. And that tournament, every rod, every combo that I had with me, I caught a fish on it. So I had the shaky head, I had drop shot, I had spinner bait, I had the finisher, and there was one, the demon. I had a DT6 tied on, and I caught one on every one of them.
Great color. Great
Yeah.
color. That demon colors. Killer in early spring.
Oh yeah.
Well, you had the puzzle put together. You had all the pieces.
Oh yeah. I had it figured out that tournament. And I was really, really proud, because I was so excited to be able to walk across the stage with my 5 fish limit, even though I think they might have weighed 7 pounds.
Hey, you still had a limit. You still had a limit.
But I had the limit, and I held first place for probably about 2 minutes, because I think we were boat number 4, so we weighed in early.
hey, you was on top there for a little bit, so.
Yep. So it felt good to see my name up at the top right there for a second. So.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Hey, Al, you got any questions there? I know we've been kind of hitting them.
Hey, I'm just enjoying just sitting back listening. I mean, I was co-angler for a long time with ABA, BFL, with the Opens.
Yep.
I fished co-angler on the Southern Opens with BASS. So I know it's not easy.
Yeah, it's a mental game.
Being on the back of that boat.
Yep.
Because unfortunately, you can't, you can't prepare. You have to really be prepared.
Yeah.
For anything. Anything and everything.
I've had boaters sit there and say, "Oh, we're going to go do this, this, and this." And I'm like, okay. And then you get out there and it's like, yeah, the weather's changing. Let's do this instead. And I was like, oh, man.
It happens all the time.
You have 5 or 6 rods and 1 tackle bag. They got 20 or 30 rods in the well, and all unlimited tackles, so they can do anything.
Yep.
Right.
And then they got 60 waypoints on their sonar, or the so they got 60 or 80 points they're looking at, and say, "Oh, I changed my mind." It's like,
Yep. Yeah, and that's the part of being a co-angler. You have to mentally prepare yourself. You can't. I mean, you can get mad, but it's not going to really do you any good to do that, because you have no control. So, for me, I try to go into it with a mindset that I'm going to do my best despite
Yep.
what my boater does. I take what I feel I'm confident with, especially if I don't get a lot of information, which normally you do. I try not to ask too many questions, because sometimes, I feel like, people are hesitant about the information that they share with me. Because as soon as you get the text message that tells you who you're paired with, I know the thing that I do is I go and I start searching people. I start looking them up on
Yep.
Facebook or
I do
whatever the
same
case may
thing.
be. Yeah, and when they search me on Facebook, if they see any association with somebody that competitively fishes as a boater, it seems like sometimes they share it with me when we talk on the phone, but normally they don't. And I can feel a little bit of the hesitance when we're talking on the phone about sharing too much for me. But then when I meet them the next day, it's like, oh, so Freddie?
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, I do.
Oh yeah, that makes it great. When you're waiting on the the pledge of allegiance, and you're sitting there in the boat, kind of waiting. And that's when you really kind of break the ice with your boater.
Yeah.
And you talk kind of where you from, about your family. That's really when you break the ice. I think that's the
Yeah.
perfect time.
Right. Absolutely.
And it is. That's the whole tone of the day can be set right there.
Oh
Absolutely.
I
yeah.
know my first question was always, when you yell fish on, how do you want the net? Do you want it
Yeah.
in the water? And most of it, they'll tell you exactly what to do. And
Yep.
right at that point, their attitude changes. They're
Yep.
like, okay, this person is going to be someone that's going to work with me. I'm not
Hmm.
going to
Right.
fight the person. And but you get a lot of guys out there that that first 10 minutes, it's like, yeah, the boater's going to be like, yeah, wait till we get to that first spot and I go to leave. You might fall off the back.
Just maybe.
What it is, you set that tone in the first 5 or 10 minutes that you're with these guys on that boat, and make it a good tone because you got 8 hours out there with them.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
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 Start off on the
That's a
right
long
foot. Start
time.
off on the right foot. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I try to make sure that I do that every single time. I come in with good vibes, greet them in the
Yep.
morning. When we make that call, when we make that connect first thing in the morning, do you need me to back the truck down? I'm okay with doing it if you need me to, but if not, that's perfectly fine. You know, even the night before when we make the call on where we're going to meet or what time we're going to meet, I try to keep the energy level. I try to keep the vibes positive and the energy level high, and let them know, like,
Yeah.
you know what, we're out there, we're going to have a great day. Do you need me to bring anything? Can I help with anything? Things like that, just to let them know that I'm here to fish. You're my boater. I look, you get one on the line, and I keep telling her, I was like, I've had no net casualties now, so I'm pretty good with the net. Like I'm net ready. I stay net ready. So you just let me know how you want to do it and what you want me to do. And so far it's been good.
Yep. And you can tell early, like you'll have a boater that's really talkative during the day, and you'll have a guy that's quiet all the day. So at first, like Al said, first 10, 20 minutes, you can kind of get a vibe how the guy goes, and you kind
Yeah.
of pick up on that, and you make a mental note. Hey, this guy's kind of a talker or not.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah. Yep. For sure.
yeah, and I've had plenty of boaters that, other than good morning, those were about the only 2 words they said all day.
yep.
And then
And
others that just don't stop.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The last one we had on Santee, and that was fun. Like I said, I knew the name, um, and by the time we met that morning, he knew a little bit about me, and he knew Freddie. So there was some familiarity there. But throughout the day, he was, I mean, he was one of the nicest guys. There's been a few on my list that I will never forget, and he's one of those guys that I'll never forget that experience with. But there was one incident on the boat, and I told him from the beginning, I was like, hey, if I got to use the bathroom, I'm just gonna say, hey, I gotta go, and I said I'll let you know. So I had to use the bathroom, and I said, "Hey," I said, "I gotta go." And he said, "Okay." He said, I'll be turned this way."
Yep.
And we're going, and next thing you know, we hit a stump.
Oh no.
And
Oh no.
he was scared to look back.
So he couldn't check on you.
He was scared to look back because he didn't know if I had my pants down. And so when I finished, he said, I was scared to look back. He said, but I kept listening for the splash because I didn't know what I was going to tell Freddie if he had fallen in the water.
That's funny. Oh my goodness. Oh,
Yeah, so
that's
that
too
was
funny.
funny. I was like, yeah, you're going to have to explain that one. Like, what happened, buddy?
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny right there. He was too shy to turn around and check on you. Oh
Yeah,
man.
he said he just kept listening for the splash. He didn't hear the splash. He knew I was all right.
There you go. There you go. And got a couple more comments to run through real quick. Real Talk Bassin says, shout out to all the boaters that have dual consoles.
Oh,
Amen
yeah.
to that.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Real Talk Bassin says, I'm up north. My division starts in April. Hey, man, nothing wrong with that. It definitely should be good fishing then up north.
Oh, yeah.
And then a quick question from Andrew Pulliam. He says, do you pre-fish out of your boat before a BFL or other co-angler tournaments? If you're thinking of going to the front, once you start doing better than the boaters this time. I agree with that.
Yeah, to answer his question, I have not pre-fished out of my boat. It has been a little bit of a struggle with me towing the boat to different areas from the last time, and I still have not gotten a truck. Like, I have a truck that can pull my boat, but I will not trust it to make long distance drives. So just locally, right here in the area, I'm fine with it. But I have a 1999 Toyota 4Runner V6 with over 400,000 miles on it.
Dang.
I'm trying to make it last forever.
Yep.
So I will not put my baby through the stress of hauling a boat, over 100 miles or so. Even though it might be able to do it, but I'm not going to put her through that. So I'm still in the market for a truck, preferably something with a V8 in it. So if anybody out there knows anybody that might be selling one, let me know. I'm not looking for anything brand new, just looking for something that is reliable.
There you go. There you go. And then Real Talk Bassin says, you literally have to prepare for everything. I totally agree with that. Because you don't know what kind of conditions, or if you're shallow or deep, and he can change it, back and forth all day. So you never know. And then Miss Ashley Klaus says, hey, y'all. Hey, Ashley.
Hey, Ashley.
Hey. How are you? It is one of those things. Now, leading up to a tournament, I know myself, I would try to find anything I could as a co-angler. You're trying to find all the information on a lake or a body of water, especially checking the weather, see what the weather's going to be like. What preparations are most important to you?
Weather for sure. That is one of the first things. Like, my eye is always on the weather. I know the tournament is coming up. I normally start checking that 10 days ahead, just to see the changes in temperature, wind, because that helps me determine what I'm going to bring with me. If it's overcast and it's going to be a little bit windy, I'm going to make sure I got a spinner bait with me. And the way I dress, that has a lot to do with it also. I pay attention to that so I can make sure that I'm going to be comfortable, make sure that I'm not going to be cold, and make sure that I'm not going to be too hot, depending on what time of year it is. I'm just really starting to get a little bit more into understanding the shifts and the phases with the moon and the barometric pressure and all of those things, because those things, from what I've read, they do play a part on how the fish behave and how they react, and the things that they do. So just starting to get a little bit more into that, because I feel like that knowledge is key and is critical for you to make quick decisions, especially like Santee is very temperamental. The other day, like we had temperatures in the 70s, and then this cold front comes through and it's 30 degrees.
Yep.
What you were working on and what you were catching in that spot is more than likely not going to be there anymore. So you got to know where to go with, like, what's your next move when things like that happen. But as a
Yeah.
Oh,
coach,
absolutely.
I just try to put I take it all. I try
Yep.
not to take so much with me so that it all gets in the way. But lately I've been a little bit scatterbrained about what I want to bring, and it seems like I always end up with 6 rods with me, and I still end up only using 3 or 4 of what I'm bringing, except for that Hartwell one where I
Yep.
used every single thing, and I think I even tied on some different lures, just trying to catch something, and nothing worked.
Oh yeah, I'll bring extra reels. I'm always afraid I'm gonna blow up one of my casting reels. You know, I have a backlash where you have to give it a haircut. So I always carry at least 1 or 2 extra reels in case
That's
something
a good
happens. You
idea.
never know.
I have not thought about that, but I probably need to start doing that too. But that is a good idea.
Yeah, and plus
So
you can have one reel that's like lighter, heavy line too, so that helps.
or just have the actual spools
Yep,
themselves with different line on them, so you can
absolutely.
swap them. That's what I used to do.
Yep.
Okay.
Just swap them out that way. I guess another question. Let me rethink it. I gotta. Oh, when you do get out there, what's your favorite lure? What do you find is neutral for you? Something that you can throw regardless of the time of day or the weather that has a good, a good action for you.
And you have confidence in. Confidence is the key there too.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I
What's your
don't think nothing
confidence lure?
will sway my confidence on the on a shaky head.
Yep.
I always have that with me. I always have that. I always have the drop shot. I have the drop shot. Some people call it a donkey rig. Some people call it a shaky shot. But I normally have a weighted hook on the bottom. I don't just drag a naked weight on the bottom. So I put that way, and that gives me the opportunity to really kind of determine where the knot there on the hanging out on the bottom, or where they're a few feet or so up from the bottom. But I do like that setup. But my favorite is a spinner bait. I
Yep.
I just I love the spinnerbait, but I know that that's not something that is all the time. Like you're not going to get the bites that you need every single time. But the reason it is my favorite is because when I first started fishing the BFLs, and everything, I guess everything with me is tied to some type of memory. But
Yep.
I had zeroed on my first 3 tournaments, my first season, and I was getting a little bit discouraged, about it. Like, what do I need to do different? How do I readjust? How do I handle this? And I fished a tournament with a guy on Murray. We started out that morning. There was perfect conditions for the spinnerbait. Perfect conditions for the spinnerbait. And I caught the first fish. He didn't even have a bite just yet. Before he could get out of his seat good and get situated at the front of the boat, I was already reeling in the first fish. I was ready to go. And the so it's a good story because I had 4, and he was trying to get me my number 5. I think he only had 2, and we were trying to get my number 5. And the next thing I know, Freddie calls me and he was like, "Tanya, where you at?" And I was like, "Oh, we're still fishing." And he was like, "What? You're late."
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh.
He said you're late. And I was like, "Are you serious?" And he was like, and I started thinking about it because I knew his flight was after mine. And
Yep.
I just turned to my boater and I said, "Danny," I said, "we're late." And he was like, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah, we're late." And but despite that, that was a really good day for me. I think I caught 3 of my fish on spinnerbait, and one that was a really good one on the shaky head. So
Yep.
between those two, those are, I seem to always want to carry those with me, even though I know conditions may not be favorable for it, but I seem to always have those.
Hey, when you said spinnerbait, I've never seen him smile as big. When you said spinnerbait, he smiled ear to ear.
Well, the whole wall behind me is nothing but spinner baits.
Yep.
That's what I.
I'm gonna
That's
have to
what I
come see
do.
you, Al.
Huh? Yeah, I got the whole wall was all spinner baits.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, I'm gonna have to come and see you by some of them spinner baits.
Yeah, starting to build the company back up again. Personal issues made me sell the company, and now I'm slowly taking control and bringing it back.
Okay.
That's good to see
But
you back,
yeah,
Al. Good to
Oh
see
yeah.
Gray
oh
go
yeah,
back.
good to be back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Look, best of it to you with that, for real.
Thank you. And I've never been late, but I want to ask, since you mentioned that, I know with your boater you had to be all smiles and that, but deep down inside, how
Heart
did that
sunk.
feel?
Deep down inside, yeah, it hurt because that was my first tournament of catching
Yep.
anything. But I wasn't like mad. I was disappointed, but I
Yeah.
wasn't mad because I had one of the best times with that boater.
Yep.
He's still one that I keep in contact with. I mean, we talked about everything. And it was a good time out there. And I know that it wasn't intentional. He
Yep.
didn't mean it. It was both of our faults. So I had to take ownership and accountability in that myself. Um, Trust me, it will never happen again
Yep.
if I had anything to do with it. But what I did do is I made sure that I still walked across that stage. Even though I knew my fish were not going to count, I still went. I got my weigh bag. I walked across
Yep.
the stage. I weighed in my fish. And I even took a picture with two of them, two of the four that
Yep.
I had. So disappointed, but not to the point, not mad where I was blaming somebody other than myself. Because like I said, I shared that responsibility and that accountability with making sure that we were aware of the time. And the crazy thing is that we got the text message with the time on it. And again, this is my first year. I was new to
Yep.
it. I was still I was myself, but not given, my full self. So I wasn't really as talkative unless somebody was really talking to me. I wasn't really as open because I was so worried about getting in my boater's way or not doing the right thing. So, I had so much playing in my head. And when he said the time that we were supposed to be back,
Oh,
I
man.
thought about it and I was like, that doesn't seem right. But what he was saying made sense. He was like, well,
Yep.
yeah, we started at this time and last time we was this and we came in and I just left it alone. I was like, okay. And it wasn't until I got that daunting phone call.
Yep.
But yeah, it definitely hurt. But
It's
again,
It happens.
Yeah, I think we've all had something. For me, a similar would have been the BFL Super Tournament. That Saturday, I had one of my best days ever. And we came in, we weighed all the fish, and I was like, man, I can't wait for tomorrow. And he's like, sorry, dude, you're 2 places out for tomorrow.
Oh, man.
And I was like, oh, come on.
Dang it. It
And
happens.
that knocked me out of everything, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
That-
man, waste all year, and then somebody comes and fishes one tournament and beats you.
yeah.
Yeah. It happens. We
Or
got we got we got Lake Cumberland here, and you got to be careful because the time zones kind of divide the lake. So I always watch. I learned from a guy wear a watch where it always stays on the
Your
same
time
zone.
zone.
Yeah. So that's a good tip. I always do that.
listen, and we
I'm gonna have
recently
to
had that happen when you're talking about the time zones and the watch.
Yep.
So we fished what was it? The last tournament that we fished. Freddie and I team fished that tournament. And daylight savings time, we forgot to change the time on the units. We were not paying attention to our watch. We had a 3-hour delay that day.
Yep.
The weather was bad. I'm talking about the water was rough. There were white caps and everything. And we were out just fishing. And you know how that feeling just settles in, like, we've been out here way too long. And
Yeah, I'm
sure
gonna have
enough,
to.
we realized that we didn't set the clocks and we were using the units instead of our watch.
Yep. That delay kind of messed your timing up. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll have to remember that Lake Cumberland,
Yep.
2 time zones on one lake. Because the series I direct, you get to fish in your time zone across the country.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to have somebody say, "Oh, well, I fished in one time zone. I can fish in the other time zone." I
I
have to
had a
keep an eye
house.
on that.
Yeah, I had a house on Chickamauga one time, and it was a little bit west of Chickamauga, and literally the time zone was in the middle of the house, and the cell phones
Oh
were going
goodness.
crazy. They was like hot because it kept going and crossing them, So you never know.
Oh yeah, those were fun days doing that.
Yeah.
Go drive down some of these places. You start to veer off to the west a little. You're in Central. 10 minutes later, you're in Eastern again.
Absolutely. It's confusing. So
Yeah.
that's when a wristwatch pays off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Got a quick comment from Demetrius Collins said shaky head will get fish in the boat.
Yep.
Absolutely agree with that. And then
I
Real
like the
Talk
one below
Bassin.
it.
Yep, Real Talk Bassin says, who introduced you to fishing and what made you want to take it to the tournament level?
So growing up, we were introduced to fishing. We lived in a very rural town. We in the country. We
Yep.
lived in the country. There we were surrounded by fields, cornfields, watermelon fields, and all of that. My grandparents and my dad, they used to load me and my cousins up in the truck, and they would take us down to the bridge, and we would go down and we would dig for our own little worms, and we were fishing for whatever we can catch.
Yep.
So I've always enjoyed it. Sad to say that in all of my years of even just enjoying fishing and even growing up watching Bill dance on TV, I had no idea that there was a tournament side that existed. I had no idea. I was
Yep.
well into being a grown woman on my own before I was even made aware of that. And it was when I met Freddie, when he and I started dating, is when I learned about the competitive side of bass fishing. I've competed in sports all through high school. Growing up, we played basketball as kids on the dirt road in the dirt with our little wood baskets. And so I'm competitive by nature. That's just the way God made me. I love to compete with people. I just love the sport of it. So when I got introduced to that, I mean, my eyes lit up like a kid in a candy store. Like, when can I do this and where do I sign up? Type of thing. So the first day, I remember the first day going out with him on the boat, because I had never been on a boat prior to meeting, other than that one year my dad took me deep sea fishing. And within, I think I lasted probably about 20 minutes before I got sick.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I slept the rest of the trip. Like I just had to go to sleep because I couldn't take the motion from the water and stuff.
Yep.
And he never took me again. He said that was too much money to be spending for me not to be fishing. And I never went again. So that was my only time, even ever really getting an experience on the boat. So outside of that, it's just been fishing from a bank. I like to say fishing from a roadside ditch, fishing from a bridge. But when I got on the boat with him the first time, I sat there the entire time. I didn't move. I watched him fish. I didn't pick up a rod. I didn't do anything because I had to get a level of comfort and trust in him to be okay. But after that first one, I was ready to go. I mean, now he's it's like every time he wants to go fishing or even talks about it, I want to be with him, type of thing. So that bug bit me, and it bit me pretty hard. And when I got the opportunity to purchase my own boat, I was not looking for a bass boat. I was actually on my way to to meet a guy to purchase a John boat, just something that I can go out and play around in and get a little familiar with on my own. And one of my coworkers told me that he was like, "Hey, up the street, I noticed that there's a guy that's got this boat for sale." He said, "It's really nice. You should go check it out." So I did that. I went out on my lunch break and I was outside looking at the boat, and then I went inside and I was like, "Hey, can I talk to the individual?" I said, "That is the owner of this boat here." And the lady was like, "Okay." She said, "Well, yeah, he's here." And then she started asking me questions. She was like, "Well, what do you do? And why do you want a boat?" So I started telling her about what I do, and that, by this time I was already competing competitively as a co-angler.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, okay. So she went and got the owner, and he comes out, and I'm telling him the same story. And he said, hold on a second. He said, I think I got something else that'll work for you. He said, because this one, he said, for what you're doing, he said, it's a really nice boat. And trust me, it was immaculate. Like that boat looked like it just left the showroom floor. And it was more than 20 years old.
Wow.
But whoever had it they did a good job with the upkeep of that boat. But it was he said the motor on it, I can't remember because I always get them confused. But he said, no, you don't want to be dealing with this. Let me show you something else. So he takes me into this big shop with these big bright lights hanging over. And I'm like, as soon as I turn the corner, I see this long black Ranger bass boat with this lime green pinstripe down the side. And if you don't know, green is my favorite color. And I was like, how much and when can I get it? So that's a little bit, probably more than you asked for, but that's how I got into it. I was introduced to it by the guy that I was dating. And I've been ate up with it ever since. I think next year for sure I'm probably going to do a little bit more with the LBAA circuit, fishing with those ladies out there, get a little bit more involved in that. So I think it'll be, because sometimes the schedules conflict with the BFL schedules. So I think I'm going to have to make my mind up which one I'm going to do.
You'll love the LBAAs. Ladies over there help you out, do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great.
Oh yeah, and I've been talking to a few of them already, and they are great. I mean, the energy, they are very welcoming. It seems to be a different, and I even watched the lives, like the weigh-ins. The vibe is just a little bit different, and it feels more like a family with them.
It is.
So I definitely want to experience that. So I'm waiting for them to reschedule the Kiwi tournament because they ended up having to cancel that one. That was in January. So I'm waiting for that one to get rescheduled, and hopefully my schedule will allow me to fish that one.
Yeah, and all the guys, it's a well-run tournament. I went and saw them at Gunnersville last year or year before last, and what impressed me as most is every lady had this little overhang, like this little patio, and every one of the ladies stayed to everyone weighed in. Nobody left. Everybody stayed for the entire weigh-in. That was really impressive.
Yeah, yep. Definitely. So I'm looking forward to it. Definitely wanting to get in with those ladies and fish a few tournaments with them.
Oh yeah, you'll enjoy it. I'd highly recommend it.
Very high energy.
Yeah, it is. Great series. They do a great job over there. But Miss Tanya, we're about in an hour. You want to just go over some of your sponsors or people that's kind of helped you out along the way there?
Yeah, so definitely, want to thank my family for all the support that they've given me with this. My dad is really, I think he's probably more excited than I am about what I'm doing in the tournaments that I fish, because he's always, you got a tournament coming up. Where is this one? When are you going? Do you need my truck? Like I keep telling him, like, that's our truck. Freddie, of course, for introducing me to this side of the sport. I don't know that if it had not been for him, whether or not I'd be where I am now. So I want to thank him for that. DSG Outerwear, I'm wearing their shirts, I'm wearing their gear. They were my first. I'm on their pro staff. So that was the first opportunity for me to collab with the vendor, with the manufacturer. So definitely thankful for them. And just recently, I was accepted into the Artemis Sports Women. I'm an ambassador for them. So those women are all about conservation and
froze up a little.
Uh-oh, did just for a second. I'd come back on here in just a second. Gotta love technology sometimes, Alvin. But she'll refresh here in a second.
Yeah.
Give her a second here, maybe to come back through. Oh man, but she's high energy, man. I'll tell you what, she's definitely got the passion for the sport for sure.
Oh yeah, and with the LBAA, she'll fit right in with them because she's got that passion that every one of them has it's just a great organization. Every time I watch your shows, every time I watch their stuff, it's always a lot of fun. It's
Yep.
always good.
Yep.
And
Oh, she dropped off. She must have lost signal or power or something. But I'm gonna do
yeah,
one more quick
well,
comment for her from oh, there she is,
she's bouncing back.
bouncing back. Let's see if she comes in there.
Yeah,
Oh man, there we go.
I'm
Let's see.
off tomorrow.
Oh, are you good?
Yes, so I will be redoing the lighting in this room.
That's project number one. There
Uh,
you go.
it's-
But said Frederick Blanding said you are a great storyteller. You should be a speaker. Great job, sis. Love you. So there you go. But we give her a minute here, see if she gets locked back in.
yeah.
Ah, dang it. Hey,
Now,
Todd.
still got a few minutes. We don't have to run yet. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's being a co-angler. I remember when I made the transition from co-angler to boater. My my biggest fear, my very first tournament was an ABA tournament
Yeah.
as on the Potomac River as a
Ooh.
boater and I just had to boat for about 2 months when I did this. And my biggest fear was the launch.
Hmm.
I was like, I'll go dead last this way. No one will see me launch. And I think it was like 80 boats. You start boat 80, boat 79. And I'm like, all right, dude, you're up to 20. You haven't called me yet. And I'm like, wait a second now. You just mentioned two. I haven't been called. Boat number one. And he mentions my name. I was like, oh no. I am not going out as boat number one.
Nope.
But I did it. And it was an experience.
Yeah.
But it is. Um, she's going to make one great boater.
Oh, absolutely.
And anyone that's on the boat with her will be lucky,
Oh yeah.
you know.
She's
And I think personally, the best boaters out there right now for co-anglers were co-anglers.
oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, I think it's a great transition. There she is.
Yep, yep. She said, "Sorry guys, I'm not sure what happened." You're good, Latanya. You're good. We figured something happened on your end, power or Wi-Fi, so we got you. You're good to go.
Yep. And it was great. And I look forward to following you and seeing where it goes. And like I was just telling Rob, as you make that transition to boater, you're going to be great at it. Don't worry
Oh,
about it. Just do it. Use this co-angler time to learn. Use it as a
absolutely,
learning, not only to learn how to fish, but if you can fish off the back of a boat, you can fish off the front of a boat.
absolutely. And she chimed in, had a great time and pleasure meeting you. Hey, thank you, Latanya.
Oh
You
yeah,
brought plenty of energy and plenty of good tips. So we appreciate you.
yeah, and it was great talking to you too. It was
Yep,
fantastic. You know,
absolutely. But we'll be
but
following you and keeping up with you for sure. And we want to see you in the front of that boat. And I know you're gonna knock them dead. You're gonna kill them.
yeah, I know I keep hoping the LBAA would come closer to Virginia.
Yep.
It's I'm now starting to get back. Like this coming weekend, I'll be in Greenville. I'll be at the Mid Atlantic Hunting and Fishing Expo.
Yep.
So I'm getting back out there.
Good. It's a lot of fun, man. You see kind of the same folks at every show, and it seems like you get like a family. I know a lot of guys travel to every show. A
You
lot of
do.
vendors, and it's pretty tight knit
And
group.
and John and I were talking about next year. I run a lot through John.
Hmm.
John knows probably more about what's going on with this company than anybody else. Because I run things through him because I really appreciate what he has to say.
Oh yeah,
You know, because on the podcast side, the content creator, the business owner, the fisherman, we're kind of like we're in the same path.
Yeah.
And we were talking about next year's trade shows and how to promote the network at the shows.
Yeah.
So we're going to try a few things. I really would like to hit up some of these bigger shows, but Rob, you know as well as I do, man, these shows are expensive.
Oh yeah, it is. It's a lot of work and long hours and
Man, you walk into Raleigh or Richmond or Columbus, Ohio, or Columbia, South Carolina, Knoxville.
yeah.
You know, if you only can do one or two trade shows, Knoxville has to be at the top of your list.
Oh yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
4-day weekend, and they put on one of the best shows ever. I did it one year, and I wish I could have gotten back, but
Yep.
other things have kept us from it. But I want to, you're looking at for even like a small company, like when I had Grey Goat Lures,
Yep.
we're looking at $1,200 for a 3-day show. By
Oh
the
yeah.
time you're done with the booth, the booth space, the electric, hotels, food, transportation, and, people don't realize how expensive it can be from the vendor side.
Oh yeah. And you talk
So,
about long days and short nights. So 3 or 4 of
yeah,
them together. Whew.
it is. You don't get out of there till 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night,
Oh yeah,
and then
absolutely.
you got to be back there by 7 o'clock in the morning to get ready for the next day.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, we were talking about. I threw a few ideas to them. Maybe
Good deal.
doing a 10 by 20 space
Yep.
and bringing our content sponsors
Yeah.
with us to sell their products.
Oh man,
So
that'd be great.
yeah, it's gonna be something we'll work on. But Miss John, I'm
Yep.
used to watching the show and John's on there. So hopefully he'll be back soon.
Yeah, he will. He will. He will. I'll tell him, man. When you ain't on the show, I feel like I'm Robin without Batman, man.
I know.
But
I do my shows by myself, and that's why they're short. I
yeah.
mean, one day we'll get them up there.
Oh yeah, you
But
will, man. And
anyway,
I said, you come to Knoxville, man. I'll be down with you. If y'all get something together in Knoxville, count me down. I'll do whatever y'all need help with. Work the show, help set up, tear down, whatever you need.
I actually was planning on coming this past year just for a day.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's not a day; it's 2 days. It's
Yeah.
an 8
Oh
hour
yeah.
drive.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
but I was planning on it, but work got in the way.
Oh yeah, it does.
It was
I understand.
it was also the same weekend of a big event that was going on, and we were sold out at the hotel, and they just needed people. They needed me around in case anything happened.
Oh yeah. Oh, I understand, man.
So
It's hard to gig sometimes.
it is. That's the downside of being with hotels. They got those busy seasons where it's hard to get a day off sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It is
All
what it
right.
is. But hey, Alvin, I appreciate you having on, man. I love
Hey,
co-hosting with you, and we appreciate your network, and man, we
I
have a
appreciate
blast on it.
everything you guys do. And I love coming on here. I love watching the shows. Every show is very interesting,
Yeah, we
you
try to keep
know?
it fresh and entertaining and kind of enlightening. So we try to have a lot of fun and teach at the same time. So we try to keep it
Yep.
lively. So we've had some great
Yep.
guests. We got a bunch on the way. So y'all keep tuning in.
Oh yeah, I see I see it because I got to program it into the network. So I see it all, and there's some great shows coming up.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, well, man, we
All right,
appreciate
Rob.
you and everything you do, man. I appreciate you.
All right, we look forward to seeing John back here.
Absolutely, man. All right, all right, Alvin. Have a good night, buddy. Good seeing you.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, take care, man. See you. All right.